What's the best drug out there, right? People come up to me all the time and ask just that very question. Doug, what's the best drug, in your opinion? Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. Just sharing my opinion here based on my experience and the research I've done on the topic. Where do I start? Number one, society has to get real with itself. And we have this label of the people that use drugs, and it seems like there's this mass negative view of such people, that they're the bad people or less than. Everyone in America, children included, ingests drugs. What am I talking about? Well, obviously, alcohol is just accepted, and tobacco and nicotine. They're legal drugs, okay, but they're drugs. Obviously, prescription drugs, Adderall, that the pharmaceutical companies and doctors prescribe to kids all the time. But not even that. Caffeine is a drug. It is. And so if you get that in coffee, if you drink coffee, you're a drug user. If you drink Coca-Cola, Pepsi, then you're a drug user. So, drugs are everywhere. And the only distinction is what we've decided is acceptable and good, and what we think is bad or evil. And that's just all based on greed. You got to think for yourself. The greatest of human powers is the ability to independently think for ourselves. So think for yourself, and I'm going to share my thoughts on the topic. And here's one more thing I want to say. For me, I didn't really start with drugs and partying until I was like 29, 30 years old, which made all the difference. And I didn't do it to mask, hide negative feelings or anything else. It was to celebrate. And the first drug I tried was ecstasy. And to this day, I'll say that is the best freaking drug I've ever had. All the positive benefits in terms of how you feel, you think, and then the music sounds amazing, and you lose your, not in a bad way, lose your inhibitions, but like you're cool with everybody. You go out to the club and you just want to meet that stranger, say hi. At least I did. And that was important for me, because up until that point, and I was coming out of my shell. I was very shy and self-conscious in my high school years, and less so in college. I was breaking out of that. But I still had some walls to tear down. And from that experience, just look, when I started on it, there was a guilty feeling. I loved that first experience, and I thought, wow, this is the feeling I've been looking for my whole life. I just sensed intuitively that I'm not fully alive. I'm sleepwalking through my life. I'm not fully enjoying and free to be myself. I'm really just enjoying life. So the roll, they call it, the buzz of ecstasy was awesome. You're awake, you're alert, you're thinking clearly. You're, for me, extra horny, fearless. It's no self-consciousness. You don't mind getting out there and dancing, and just, you don't care. You don't care who's laughing at you, just don't care. You want to live that moment. Skin feels amazing. And yeah, you just really want to bond. And oftentimes with a good pill, you have these epiphanies, meaning that like some kind of these thoughts that are floating in your subconscious, you've not quite connected the dots, some issue with a relationship. You realize, wow, I've been oblivious to that I was blind to something happening with a relationship, or you really start, for me anyway, you have these appreciation of the people that you love, and you want to express that. And for me, ecstasy just puts you on top of the world. Every weekend I was doing it, I knew it was going to be an epic, fun night. And unlike, being drunk, again, you're not sloppy, you don't black out. Do it, look, be smart about it, your dosage, and do your own research. Don't ever try a drug without researching it at first. The risks, the benefits, the risk of addiction. That's just being smart. And by the same token, the other side of that coin, don't ever push something on someone. You like ecstasy or whatever it is, don't slip it in their mouth unbeknownst to them. That's stupid. I think that's evil. Um, and then, because it can be a terrible thing when not suddenly you're high, you don't know what you just had. You don't. That's just dumb. So you got to be smart about that. And that's one of the great things with ecstasy. How many cases have you heard of friends who they're addicted to ecstasy? I'm gonna guess 0, because it's not that kind of drug that you even can get the payout from every time. You know, for me it was Saturday night, boom. Sunday, still, I didn't maybe sleep great, but I slept okay. And if I didn't sleep, I still feel good the next day, and the music still sounds amazing the next day. For me, it wasn't a bad come down. Caveat: I have had friends who have a really harsh come down from ecstasy, like depression or maybe suicidal thoughts or whatever, or if not that far, at least it's a really harsh come down. That's not been my experience, so beware. I mean, I guess give it a shot, give it a try, and if you have that reaction, maybe that's not the drug for you. I've never tried heroin. I have no interest in that type of drug. The description I've heard from friends is that you feel like you're wrapped in the arms of God. It's that awesome. However, you're also closed off. You're in your own little world, your shell. And I don't want that. I wanted something to bring me out, get me on the dance floor and talking and social and present. But I've tried lots of the others. Cocaine, to me, sucks. The buzz is short and not even that good. And this is in comparison to ecstasy. It's nowhere near all the benefits. It doesn't last as long. The hangover sucks. For me, I feel like crap the next day. And they say, it's one of those you have to keep doing to really get the enjoyment out of it. I have no interest in that. And that one obviously is addictive. I tried, meth, and I can't recommend to anyone. To any that sucks. I don't feel like myself. Really feel edgy, and that's super addictive. Obviously, stay away from that one. Is my advice. So ecstasy is certainly the one I recommend. And listen, I like it. I was a drug dealer. I sold ecstasy in the Hollywood clubs for years. And to this day, I don't feel guilty because I did it. My friends did it. And something, again, about drug users, these losers, these bad people. Man, I've made met the greatest people through that scene. Loving, compassionate, fun. They'd give you the shirt off their back kind of people. Hippie style people. And I realized these are not our criminals. These are some of the coolest cats out there, not harming anybody. Again, some of the nicest people around using it. Lost my train of thought there for a sec. So I was a drug dealer. I got busted in Vegas 10 years ago. And I guess with that, I didn't feel bad. No second guessing. I didn't lie. The lawyer said, "Hey, did you confess?" Yeah, I confessed. It's mine, and I was selling it. So, give me the consequences. I'm not the kind of a douchebag who's gonna. I have some integrity. I stand behind what I'm doing. So, pled, guilty and got the probation, and took this all as a sign. It's Doug, from the universe, from God. That's not what you're here for. You've got bigger mountains to climb. Change the world. You're smart, you're motivated, you're intelligent, you're curious, and loving, and fearless. Now, anyway. So, I took it, and I stopped. I had to stop. It would be stupid to continue that life choice, knowing what the consequences would be, and just realizing it's a sign. Stop doing that. Ecstasy, I think, is great, and I hope someday, I would honestly like to do that with my parents, who are completely conservative and straight-laced, and I'm sure would be shocked and appalled that their son has tried. And I told them, too, yes, I've used drugs. I think they still see that I'm a good person, so they still love me and maybe respect my honesty with them. But I like it so much that I would love to do it with them. Because, again, you celebrate life and music. And I think ecstasy initially was used as like a marriage counseling tool you give to couples, because that's part of what it does. A good pill makes you get honest with yourself about the life you're living, and honest, you want to express that. You want to have those deep conversations with people you love that are in your life, and that's in itself a great benefit of it. And with my brothers, who I know of, I don't think I've ever tried anything, including pot. And I recommended it to my closest brother years ago. So I said, look, I love you. I'm not telling you to do it. I hope you'll consider it, because for me, in my life, it's a very sad thought to me that I would have gone through life having never tried ecstasy, because I wouldn't become the person I am now. Not just do you have amazing nights, epic nights, it helped me evolve, become more of the person I wanted to be. Everything's here for a reason. The universe puts things in place for a reason. And so I can't see it as evil. For me, the benefits far outweighed any of the negatives. Using it, you want to be smart. I mean, you got to drink water, stay hydrated, do your research on the risks and benefits of it. And honestly, and even when I was selling, I wouldn't sell it to 18, 19-year-old. No. Your brain, and this is not an arbitrary thing, because society says, you got to be 21 to drink. Scientifically, medically speaking, our brains are still developing until, I mean, it varies, right? But 24, 22, and again, for me, I can only speak from my experience. Having started later with drugs, it was never an issue with me. I could handle it. Never became addicted to anything. And again, I never used it as like a medicine to hide from my problems. Going through a breakup, and that includes alcohol too. There's all this wisdom in pop music and country music. You broke up with your girl, or she dumped you. Now let's go hit the bar. That's stupid. You want to deal with your issues sober. I think using drugs is the thing to do when you want to celebrate. I mean, and
expand your mind.
Huh?
Expand your mind.
It does, yeah. The right stuff. I didn't care for mushrooms. They made me too weird. I mean, it's a trip. It just seems some weird things, and you're not even yourself. Your thoughts can get really confused. To each his own. For others, I know they really like it. The other one, and there's a tinge. I'm somewhat reluctant to talk about it because it's one that can be deadly. It's very dosage sensitive. It's GHB. They call it liquid ecstasy. And again, do your own research. But when it's done, you've got to pace yourself. A lot of people have issues because they start feeling good and they can't keep track of when they want more and more, like Icarus flying too close to the sun. And also, it's hard to tell. You really can't tell what the the dosage, how intense, how potent. That's the word. How potent that particular bottle that you have is. It can be really strong. It can be watered down. You just got to be real careful with it. I've never had an issue with it. You don't want to mix it with alcohol. That's like the date rape thing, the ruthies they call it. And you see these jackasses, these dicks at the club, with girls I've been with, friends, girlfriends. Girls, if you're at the club, you got to watch your drink. These people out there who will put stuff in there, they have no conscience. And with all the great people I've met through the club scene, there is that minority element, guys that lurk in the shadows, that just want to prey, the vampires. Vampires are real. So aside from that, if you're drinking alcohol, don't mess with GHB. If you've not done the research, don't mess with it. And it's hard to find. I don't really see it out there in Los Angeles anymore. But those are my two favorite, I think, by far, ecstasy and GHB. And that's a good mix, because the ecstasy is a stimulant. The GHB is kind of a depressant. However, if I'm not mistaken, GHB, it's a chemical, basically, that's already in your body. And it's kind of a nutrient. It's not a toxin, like alcohol and like pretty much everything else out there. But again, it's like a drop. Sometimes it's all that you need. Or it's not a shot, for fuck's sake. That's way too much of that liquid. Have just a little bit. Start slow, and then you start, I don't know, feeling loose and happy. And again, music sounds great. You want to dance. You want to celebrate your existence. And as a society, as a world, I think the no-brainer, it seems obvious to me, drugs should be legalized, regulated, taxed. Regulated so that it's safe. We know what it is that we're buying. And because the people that want to use it are going to use it. Someone who is opposed to drugs, they're not going to use it, basically. And all we do with our war on drugs and criminalizing this stuff that God put here is you create the mafia, the black market. So the money that instead of going to the coffers of the state, the country, and the city, go right to fuel these thugs, these gangs that run the market. It's always there. So it might be counterintuitive, especially for conservative people who don't get that logic, but I mean, that's just how it works. That's the economics of it. And it's cool if you don't get it, but there's no argument to be made about that. It doesn't work. People who use drugs are not criminals. You're not hurting anybody unless you injure someone, or you're driving and beyond that, if you're getting high, whatever you put in your body, that's your thing. There's no one who can more powerful or more important or more special than you who can tell you what to do with your own body. So yeah, it's I don't know, I think it's an important topic. I think society by and large never gets real with itself about any issue, sex or pornography or drugs. And I'm not doing this to be titillating or controversial. If we're going to make progress as a group, a world, a society, we have to talk about these things. And it's okay to disagree. And hope you respect my honesty and fearlessness and just weighing in on this. I don't mind pushback or judgment. I just don't. What I do mind is going to my grave, which we're all headed to, without speaking up about things that are important to me. So I guess that's it. I'm open to discussion, debate. Yeah, okay, I'm going to sign off. Wish you well. Have a good day. Bye.